Things just got worse and worse and worse as the night went on. Again, valiant effort down the stretch for the Bucs. Just too little, too late. Let's go down and let's see what Coach Fletch and the rest of the crew has to say. And as always, go Bulls. So let's head into the locker room right now and see what the guys have to say about that one. Wow. Where do the Buccaneers go from here? What an incredible atmosphere. What a good win for the Tampa Bay Lightning. They snapped a 7-game winning streak. How we feeling, Bucs Nation? It's time to party, baby.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Recher podcast. Happy October 27, 2025. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Monday. Whether you're here in the Tampa Bay area or abroad, it is a victory Monday here on the program. Thanks to our Tampa Bay Buccaneers and to our Tampa Bay Lightning. Unfortunately, we can't say the same thing for USF and the Tampa Bay Rowdies. But we'll get into everything on the program today. The only show that's going to touch on everything that happened over the weekend in the world of sports, not just on the football field, not just here in the Tampa Bay area. A big thank you to our partners, as always. Honest Hammer Custom Builders, LLC, 813-244-0956. Hit them up for all your residential and commercial needs. And, of course, EverHealth, our EverHealth injury report every Thursday here on the program at 12:30 with Dr. Carlos Rivera, fast becoming our favorite segment here on the program. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for all the love and the support. Questions, comments, concerns, leave them there at the bottom of the screen. And also, if you want to join in on the conversation, there is the link right there in the chat, StreamYard.com/4i3JWKBHYX. You don't have to remember all that. Just click on the link on your phone, on your laptop. You could join in on the conversation, whatever you guys want to talk about on the program today. Feel free to join us here on the program. Plenty to get into. No shortage of topics on this Monday. But our Bucs really leading the way here, 6-2 now after 8 games. They're in the middle now of their bye week, or the bye week just started after their 23-3 win over the Saints in New Orleans yesterday. We'll break that down with our good buddy Ian Beckles at 12:30 today, like we do on every Monday. Let's see what he has to say about this team, not just after the win yesterday, but also after 8 games. I'm pretty sure that if anybody out there was told that they'd be 6-2 after 8, I think most Bucs fans, if not all Bucs fans, would take that, no doubt about it. And now it's let's get healthy. Let's get healthy. Let's try to get as many guys back as humanly possible after the bye week, and let's try to see if this team can make a run into the postseason and a long playoff run. And you know, it's nice to beat a division rival. It's also nice to play at 4:00 after you watch the Falcons and the Panthers get absolutely destroyed at home with a couple of backup veteran quarterbacks. That was a really, really good Sunday for the Buccaneers when it comes to their status in the NFC South. All right, so what else are we going to get into on the program today aside from the Buccaneers? We'll also talk about what happened with USF. The loss in Memphis against the Tigers knocks them out of the top 25. No surprise there. And it's kind of weird to hear some of the things that we've been hearing from certain people on social media, and it is the vocal minority. But some of the people bashing Alex Golesh, and yes, he needs to wear this one, but we also have to keep things in perspective as well. We'll get into that as well as the rest of the college football slate at 1:00 today, including Brian Kelly being ousted at LSU. No surprise there. The writing was on the wall. We spoke about this on, I think it was Thursday or Friday, that if LSU lost that game, that it was going to be, donezo for Brian Kelly, and that's exactly what happened. So he's out of there. Yeah, and a couple other SEC games too. Big win for Alabama. Very impressed by them. I couldn't have been more wrong about the Crimson Tide. And listen, for all of our Alabama fans that watch the program, including our good pal Nick Kelly from AL.com, who said in the beginning of the season he'd be very surprised if they missed the college football playoff. I was like, wow, really? Because I'm completely on the other side. I didn't think that Kalen DeBoer and whoever they would have had at quarterback was going to be able to do the job. But, man, they have really stepped up. So, shout out to the Crimson Tide, man. They look really amongst the elite in college football, not just the SEC. Also, Todd Bowles speaks at 12:30 today, so we'll give you kind of a rehash of what he said as far as any updates, because it's going to be a lot of radio silence over the next week or so with the Buccaneers having their bye week. So Todd Bowles hopefully giving us some updates at 12:30. We'll give that for you at 1:15. And, of course, taking a look around the rest of the National Football League, some of the other big stories there. And then at 1:30, we'll finish off with everything else that happened over the weekend, including the Lightning getting back on track, one of the best, or the best win of the season, I believe, last night over the Vegas Golden Knights in overtime. The Rowdies' emotional season finale there with Leo Fernandez and Forrest Laszlo saying their final goodbyes to the contingency there at Al Lang. UFC 321 underwhelming. El Clasico, where Madrid comes out on top, and everything else that happened. Oh, yeah, the World Series as well. One game apiece. Game 3 tonight from Chavez Ravine there in Tinseltown. Dodgers and Blue Jays should be a good one. Let's get to some of your comments before we get into that Buccaneers game. Victory Monday from Benny. Victory, best time, perfect time for the bye week, says our good friend Janet Best. Bolts finally played for 60 minutes, and look at the results. Great to finally meet you in person. That's a great little gig you got going with Sticks and Stools. A big thank you to David Terry for coming by and joining us, watching Sticks and Stools. Really, really good stuff. Make sure if you guys know I'm anywhere out in public, make sure you come up and say hello, but especially somebody like DT, who's been a big supporter of us from day one here on the program. Speaking of supporting, I just got the text message this morning. The shop for our T-shirts and hats should be unveiled this week. So I'm putting the final touches on it. Got a big text message. So a big hurdle was jumped over this morning, and we're getting closer so you guys can get some Recher podcast gear as well to support out in the public, man. Really, really good stuff there, DT. Thank you so much. Eddie in the house. Good morning, Recher Familia. Victory Monday to all my Miami teams, including the False Fins, and shout out to my other Florida team, the Bakerneers. Can't stay. Have a wonderful day. Appreciate you, buddy. Carlos Becerva. What's going on to our guy Dolan as well? Look at Rolly. Victory Monday, but what a heartbreaking loss to the Bulls. Should have kicked the field goal instead of going for the fourth. I knew it right then. We'll talk about that here in a bit. That's exactly what I want to talk about. Dolan, ugly game with the Saints, didn't keep shooting themselves in the foot. That game might have been closer. O-line play was awful. Hello to Greg DeCruz, Dolan, Greg, and Greg. Thanksgiving month away. Jason Light trolling the Saints never gets old, and especially trolling Cam Jordan. Guys, if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter right now, hit that like button for me. Kill that like button right now while you can. Share this on your social media platforms. The only way we're going to get bigger and bigger and bigger is if you do that and help us out today on the program. So watching this Buccaneers game, and you know me, I love to make analogies to other sports. But I feel like this game for the Buccaneers, the win over the New Orleans Saints, was like a baseball pitcher that didn't have his best pitch. It was like Clayton Kershaw going 7 innings, but his curveball was terrible. It was like a guy like Drew Rasmussen being able to throw 8 innings, but not having his slider. Sometimes you have to win ugly. Sometimes you have to win when some of your best players aren't playing that well. Sometimes you have to win when you get beat in a big one-on-one confrontation like you did at the goal line. You don't see that very often. We know that the Buccaneers' success over the last couple of years, a lot of it was built through the trenches, making sure that they could protect the quarterback, run the football, stop the running, doing a little bit of everything to make sure that they put themselves in a position to succeed. And at times, it was ugly against New Orleans. One of the worst games I think I've seen Tristan Wirfs play. The inability to run the football, the inability to score on those goal line plays where New Orleans was standing up. And listen, you got to give them credit, but the Buccaneers, those are the things you got to be able to get there 7 times getting stopped. I mean, eventually you push it in. Eventually you knock it in there. But that's what you have to do sometimes. You have to win ugly. They don't care after 8 games how many of them were pretty, how many of them were ugly. It's about wins and it's about losses. That's it. 6-2, 8 games, bye week, fine. Get the hell out of the building. Go spend time with your family and get your players back. I thought it was a really, really solid win for the Buccaneers because those are the type of games where it's very easy to say, oh, the bye week is coming. We're better than this team on paper. Let's just roll the ball out there, and we should beat them. I hate coulds and shoulds and woulds and ifs, ands, and buts. I hate all that stuff. You got to go out there and play the game. To be able to go out there and get that win, and as resounding as it was, only giving up 3 points, that makes me feel really good about the Buccaneers going forward. Offensively, they've been carrying the water in the beginning of this year. They carried the water last year, averaging over 30 points a game. It's only natural. And for people saying, oh, I'm worried about the offense, obviously, it's going to come back down to reality at some point. Eventually, the injuries are going to catch up to them. You're not going to be able to put up 30 points a game when you lose Mike Evans, when you don't have Chris Godwin. Emeka Egbuka is clearly not 100%. It's great that he came back from the hamstring injury early, but look at the performance the last 2 weeks. That's not the same guy that we saw the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season. It's just not. It's not. So he needs the bye week as well. Running the football, not having Bucky Irving in there is a huge loss for the Bucs. You love what you've seen from Rachaad White because he's tough as nails. He does a great job at picking up blocks, and he can catch the ball out of the backfield. He gets some hard yards to this Buccaneers team. And Sean Tucker, good for him as well. There's something about New Orleans with that guy. He loves playing there. You can tell. But as good as those guys are, they're not Bucky Irving. He makes guys miss. He turns those 8-yard runs into 25 and 30-yard runs. He's a special back. When you don't have that, that's a huge part of your offense. And let's not forget, Josh Grizzard is still learning. He's still learning as a play caller. You saw that yesterday. There were some, plays you're looking at like, I don't know if that's necessarily the right call. Guys aren't going to have it right away. And it's funny that we're talking about this with the Buccaneers. I went out to lunch with one of our baseball dads yesterday. And we were talking about Todd Bowles. And we were discussing about how much that he has gotten better this second time around as a head coach. And if you remember, when Todd Bowles was initially promoted to head coach, I was one of the staunchest people in the entire Tampa Bay area with hesitancy going, bro, I don't know about this. My hesitation was, I just watched this with the Jets. Half of my family are Jets fans. I watched the absolute dumpster fire that it turned into. I don't know if this is the right move. He has to prove me wrong. And he has. But he's been open to change. He's changed his defensive coaching staff. He's brought in a guy to help him with clock management. Right? He's shown to have an open mind going, I don't know everything. Even though I've been around this game for decades, there's still more that I need to learn. I need to bring more people. I need to surround myself with smart people and lean on them and learn how to delegate more and understand that this entire process isn't just about me. It's about everybody. He empowers his coaches to be able to make decisions and uses their input to make the team better. That's what Todd Bowles has done. But they don't have cliches and adages like you can't teach an old dog new tricks if it wasn't true in some form or fashion, in some aspects. But it isn't like that with a guy like Todd Bowles. But in your mind, you got to tell yourself, Todd Bowles is even learning. So if we have a young kid like Josh Grizzard calling plays for the first time, I think it's very short-sighted to think that there's not going to be growing pains. People forget there was growing pains with Liam Cohen too, right? It happens. But Liam Cohen also had experience of calling some games with the Rams, calling offense of play calls with the Kentucky Wildcats and too in the NCAA in the SEC, right? So that helps. Josh Grizzard didn't have that. He learned in Miami. He learned here. And there's going to be some warts to his game. And also, he doesn't have a full complement of players offensively. When you have a different right guard again with Dan Feeney suiting up after Mike Jordan suited up last week. When you don't have a guy that's a fringe Pro Bowl player at right tackle with Luke Gedeke not being in there. It's tough, man. I know injuries are part of the game, but it doesn't make it easier. It's not an excuse. It's a reason. Don't have your two best wideouts. Don't have your top running back. Don't have 2/5 of your offensive line. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I love the fight from this Buccaneers team. If you watch this game yesterday, you look up and down this roster. You look offensively, you look defensively. Just look on some of these plays. Look at some of the hard hits that Tez Johnson takes over the middle. This guy is 158 pounds soaking wet, and he's not afraid to go over the middle, make a catch, take contact, bounce right back up. God, it's good to be young. And get right back out there for Baker Mayfield. Where would this team be without Tez Johnson? Think about that. Big time player for this team. Is a seventh round pick out of Oregon. I mentioned the tough yards from Rachaad White. Another guy who I think has been a complete unsung hero for the Buccaneers this year is Cade Otton. Just look at some of the yards, that first down play that he had, where it was 3rd and down to get stopped just short of the sticks and just completely turns and muscles his way for the first down. I mean, those are the type of things that invigorate your whole team. Forget just the offense. We've seen it with Baker when he runs to those first down and how it just injects life into the team. Same thing with Cade Otton. Same thing with Rachaad White. That's just on the offensive side of the ball. I look at the defensive side of the ball, and I can't believe that we've gone 16 minutes throughout the program and not mentioned the one guy that stood out amongst the rest yesterday, and that's Anthony Nelson. When you are a good team, not a roster filled with good players, when you are a good team, when players get opportunities, when players get more playing time than they're used to, and they rise to the occasion, that is symbolic of a good team. Now, is Anthony Nelson going to be a guy that's going to be out there every single week getting you a couple sacks? No, we know that. All right, and maybe a couple weeks before he gets another one, but with Nelly, you're going to get 100% effort the entire time. He's not going to over pursue. He's going to do what he can in the run. And we saw it last year. Was it last year in Carolina, the year before, when he came up with that big fumble? This is a guy that he's got a knack for making the big play. He's got a clutch gene. I don't know if we really see the clutch gene all that much from defensive ends and outside linebackers, but there's something about him that he has that inside him. And he's a guy that you'll love to root for. And with Hassan Reddick being out, Anthony Nelson steps in and had a whale of a game. That pick six was so freaking badass. It just reached that big old paw up there, comes down with it, just shrugs off Spencer Rattler and waltzes into the end zone. I mean, that unbelievable, man. Unbelievable freaking play from Nelly. That's the Bucs right there. That's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And you watch even to the end, the last play of the game. The last play. Nice. Was a sack for the Bucs. They didn't give in. They didn't give in at all. Everybody was busting their ass. And even though, and this is why, people are going to bitch and moan and complain about officiating and referees and all this stuff. And was there a whistle? Was there not a whistle? That stuff is going to happen. That stuff is going to happen. Does it suck? Yes. And especially when you hear Todd Bowles complain about it, because he's not that guy. He's the one that kind of mitigate that type of noise. He's the type of guy that's like, we'll worry about that. We'll take care of it. He was visibly frustrated, and he said he was pissed off. You don't hear that from Todd Bowles all that much. But they got to be better. I mean, the officiating on Sunday across the National Football League was atrocious. Atrocious. There's so many things about the NFL. I was having this conversation yesterday as well. Like, there's so many things you watch the NFL, you're like, that's so bad. Yet it doesn't matter to anybody. It's still king. Like, the amount of injuries that we see, the amount of poor quarterback play that we see, the amount of bad teams there are, the amount of bad officiating that we see on a weekly basis, like, it doesn't even matter, right? Like, people still consume this product in any way possible. But the officiating was horrid yesterday. And the fact that Antoine Winfield Jr. spent so much time in the end zone and didn't have one touchdown was kind of, it's kind of funny. I mean, you laugh now because they won. But that dude he's another guy. He's got that clutch gene. And that was a bullshit call. And there was no whistle. And it's funny because when you go back to the broadcast, I watched it again this morning. Kenny Albert, who was on the call with Jonathan Vilman, says, no whistle. He says it during the play. Even before all the brouhaha, even before all the consternation about like what's going on. No whistle. Should have been a touchdown. But what do good teams do? Good teams don't dwell on that. Good teams don't just sit there and bitch and moan about things that don't happen. They go out, they continue to play. Bad calls are part of the game. As long as we have human referees and officiating before AI and automatic strike zones take over, the human element is just bound to come with mistakes and errors. So what are you going to do? You got to control what you can control. And I coached this weekend out in Davenport, and we had one umpire for the first 3 games and a different umpire for the last game. And the first umpire was super tight. It was keyhole. The last umpire was a little bit more open. And our kids after the first inning were like, and they were bitching and moaning about the umpires in the strike zone. And I said, if you're spending your energy on that, you're not putting your energy into having good quality at-bats. You're not putting energy into being a good teammate. You're not putting in energy and kind of seeing what this pitcher is doing when you're in the on-deck circle or when you're in the dugout, trying to figure out what pitches he's going to throw in certain counts. Like, don't waste your energy putting it towards things like that. Good teams in any sport don't sit there and complain about the refereeing and the officiating. They just go out there and ball out. That's what you saw from the Buccaneers. Yeah, it sucked. Of course it did. Should have been even worse than what the scoreline was. But that's why I think when we look at this team, we feel good. I think the big hesitation with this team is the injuries. Understood. I think the bye comes at the perfect time. But when you watch that game yesterday, when you watch the defense, you're proud to be a fan of this team. You're investing your time, and we speak about this a lot when we're talking about the Rays and Lightning and the Bucks, and there's a lot of, right? You're investing your time, your energy, you're spending your disposable income on these teams. That's one of the biggest, hits and misses when it comes to the Rays. People are like, they don't really know, right? They're like, maybe, I like they're entertaining. We want to support the hometown club, but we don't like this. We don't like that. We don't like buying jerseys, and the guy's 2 years, he's gone 2 years later. With the Lightning, no hesitation whatsoever. You're going to go. You're going to enjoy yourself. You know a team's going to be battling for the playoffs every single year. You're going to see Nikita Kucherov and Victor Hedman and Andrei Vasilevsky, right? Like, no hesitation whatsoever. The Buccaneers have gotten to that point now, and especially because the way they play. And you're led by a guy like Baker Mayfield that is an absolute dog that is not going to give up. He is so relentless trying to make a good play. And his bicep injury that was plaguing him. Yesterday, what I saw was him and his ability to roll to the left and roll to the right and fire some absolute darts on the money to his receivers. That made me feel real good going into the bye. Because Baker last week against Detroit was as inaccurate as we've seen him all year long. Yesterday, much better. Much better for Baker Mayfield. Back to the defensive side of the ball. One thing is, as I'm watching the game again this morning, even just tackles, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys going to the football. It's not just one. It's not just, oh man, this guy slipped his tackle. The tackling for this team, even if the first guy doesn't get him, the gang tackling, the way that they surround the football, the mindset that this defense has. I mean, that's what's going to keep them in games while this offense is kind of trying to figure everything out. It's a work in progress, the offense. And is it going to be 100% really all regular season? We hope so. I mean, ideally, when we get back from the bye, we'll be able to see Bucky Irving return or Chris Godwin return. We know Mike Evans is going to be out for the entirety of the regular season with that broken clavicle. Jalen McMillan's still wearing a neck brace. I mean, it's going to be a while before we see him, right? Kate Ottenbetter in the offense. But, I mean, Bucky, Chris, those are the two guys that I'm looking at here in the next 2 weeks Can those guys return after the bye? Are they able to get back Chris Godwin from that fibula injury? Are they able to get back Bucky Irving with that shoulder and that foot injury? Let's hope after the last couple of weeks being out, this bye week, they're able to return, because then the offense, I think, can start finding their identity. Because this team, what is their identity? It's a conversation that Ian and I have, and he'll join us in about 5 minutes here on the program. What is the identity of this Buccaneers team? Sometimes is it a passing offense? Is it are we focused on running the football? Is it their run defense? Is it their ability to get to the passer? Bunch of sacks yesterday, which is good. Anthony Nelson doing the job. And I've been calling out because I want to see them get to the quarterback. And for me, it's not been about the pass rush. It's been about the outside linebackers and the pass rushers. It's about being able to get there with 4. So if you sit there and be like, oh, well, they have this sacks and this is what they've been able to do. Yeah, that's not the complaint that people have. Todd Bowles has always done a great job of being able to scheme up pressure to get to the quarterback. But when I say I need to see more from Hassan Reddick and I need to see more from Yaya Diaby, sacks from the Tyke Smiths of the world and Jacob Parishes of the world, that doesn't quelch any of the fears that I have when it comes to the inability to get home with 4. Now Anthony Nelson steps in and does the job, but you got to keep that going. Hopefully Hassan Reddick is another guy that can come back and perform and come through in a big way. I look at this situation and I say, I'm happy with the Buccaneers at 6-2 through 8 games. Can they get better? Of course they can. But you look at what happened in the division. Do you trust any of those teams? Remember when everybody wanted Zach Robinson as the play caller? Oh, woof. I thought Mike McDaniel would have been fired. Think about how bad you must be if you're the Atlanta Falcons. If you lose to the Miami Dolphins at home. Think about that. Miami is a loss or 2 away from making some wholesale changes with that team. And you lose 34-10 at home. Somebody was putting something on Twitter last week or 2 weeks ago. Oh, yeah, watch out. This is a team that you got to be worried about. Really? A team that lost 30-zip to Carolina? And then a team that loses 34-10 at home to Miami? Who the hell is scared of the Atlanta Falcons? Ain't nobody scared of them. They should be scared of themselves. That's crazy to me. If you lose at home to a team that really has no prospects of going to the playoffs because there is such an incredible amount of turmoil, what does that say about you? A lot of people like Raheem Morris, the person, right? I remember having Rondé Barber on last year, and he thought he was going to be good. That's his guy. And I'm like, okay. He's getting his second crack at it. And sometimes guys are better their second time around, right? We saw Bill Belichick, not great with Cleveland. One of the best coaches in NFL history for what he did in New England. We see it with Todd Bowles, Jets, and now the Buccaneers. Well, Rod got his opportunity with the Falcons after what happened here with the Buccaneers, and it is not going well. So again, at 4:00 yesterday, before the Buccaneers even kicked off in New Orleans against the Saints, they're looking at the scoreboard and they're seeing Carolina getting smoked at home 40-9 and Atlanta getting pounded 34-10. Pretty damn good. When you look at Buffalo and Carolina, Carolina in a weird way, Rico Dowdle's been so good the last couple of weeks, and they're rotating him. Even when he touched the ball yesterday, he had a nice long run. They were running the hell out of the ball in that first quarter, and then all of a sudden they just got behind. They started throwing the football with Andy Dalton. I'm like, that was so foolish. You have your backup quarterback in there. You have a running back that's been balling. And now you're splitting time with him and you're putting the ball in the Red Rockets. He looked terrible yesterday. Run the football, keep Josh Allen off the field, and you give yourself a chance to win. Sometimes these guys try to overcomplicate things in the NFL, man. It just doesn't make any sense. I'm watching that game and I go, what are y'all doing? What are you guys doing? Sitting back there, you want Andy Dalton throwing the football? Dude. All right, we'll take it. We will take it. All right, guys, it's 12:30 on a Monday. You know what that means. It's time to bring him in. What is going on over here? Oh, look at that, huh?
Yeah, we're having problems with the.
You're good. You're
We're
good.
good. We're good. We're good.
You're good.
We're good.
Tampa Bay Inferno. It's good. It's
Inferno,
good.
baby. Look at that.
Inferno.
Yeah,
The
man.
Inferno.
Yeah.
Welcome, Ian Beckles, the happiest man on planet Earth. Bro, Indiana smacked UCLA. Smacked. I just UCLA's been playing better. And then I look at Indiana, look at that score at like halftime, and I'm like, bro, this team is so good. They're really freaking good, man. There's a lot of teams, and you look at it, college football, they have trouble. And I just watch them and I go, my God, man. It's got to be a joy to watch them every week.
Well, I mean, Jay, I'm not somebody who gasses a team up. When you go into Oregon and do what they did and go into Illinois or beat Illinois, I don't know if it was at home or not, but to beat a team by 40 points in the Big Ten is unheard of. And they just keep on doing it every week. And to a point now where they're giving themselves a little bit of a cushion to where they can maybe lose a game and still get in this thing because, when you're second in the nation at this time of the year, it's kind of hard to fake it. It's not like this is a soft schedule. They're playing a Big Ten schedule, so they have to be real at this point.
Yeah, I mean, just watching them, I'm like, man, there's one thing you can't doubt is them. Really, really good stuff there. Buccaneers win 23-3 yesterday. I made the analogy when I opened the show, Ian, that it was almost like a pitcher that didn't have his best pitch, and they just kind of found a way. They knew it was going to be a little greasy. They knew that the bye week was coming, and they just kind of like held on. It was complimentary football. McLaughlin with a bunch of 50-yard field goals, the defense with a bunch of sacks. Baker made just enough plays. I thought it was just one of those things where, like, let's just get to 6-2 and let's get the hell out of the building for a week. What did you make of that game for the Buccaneers and how they were just able to come away with the victory?
Well, it's not the end of the world when your pitcher doesn't have his best stuff when you have a fantastic defense behind the pitcher. Seriously, right. I mean, because yesterday Baker was off. Baker's been off the last couple of games, and people have asked me what's going on. What's going on is he's feeling the season. I can see him feeling the season. Okay, we questioned some of his moves early in the season, running for first downs, and everybody loves it, and rah, rah, rah. But, it adds up as you're going through the season, and you have to let your body recover. And his body's just trying to recover, but there's no time to recover, unfortunately. And the balls are sailing. You don't see him running. You don't see him extending plays as much. Listen, if you're beat up, people are like, you look scared. Well, he's human. At the end of, Tom Brady's career, he was getting rid of that ball quickly because he didn't want to get hit. When you're in the 8th week of the season and you got bruises everywhere, you don't want to get hit, and you want to do whatever you can to survive and not get hit. And he's gotten through the last couple of games, not getting pounded. He's not played well, and we're still in this thing, and he is not playing his best football at the minute. But how can you? Because you're still shorthanded everywhere.
Yeah, I like that he made some throws yesterday, right there. I thought he was more accurate than he was. Of course, he wasn't back to what we seen a couple of weeks ago, but I thought it was better. It was a step forward from what we saw in Detroit, being able to make a couple plays, rolling out to his left, rolling out to his right. It looks like his arm's better, but you're right. Like, I think his overall, like, I think he needs the bye week too to just kind of get away. Is it more physical or mental for these Buccaneers players? Not for you during your time, but do you think for these guys it'll be a better physical or mental reset?
Physical at this moment. I don't know if a bye week is a mental reset. I hated bye weeks. Like, I would rather not have a bye week. I'd rather play 16 weeks, let it go. Bye week is just an extra week of practice without playing a game. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, and then we had coaches who took advantage of the bye week to make us work harder instead of, getting our bodies back. So, it depends on how your coach deals with it. But at this moment, these guys are 6-2. And like I said, you're going into a bye week. You gave yourself a little cushion. The next 3 games are tough. And then it kind of eases up in the back end of the season. But, that Saints game was a game they had to win just to put themselves in the driver's seat. Because even if they go 1-2 in the next 3 games, they're still going to be in a great situation.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And what was going through your head when they weren't able to punch it in from the goal line there?
I mean, listen, you got to give some credit to the other team. sometimes. If you were watching the game, the Buccaneers didn't move nobody yesterday. They didn't. They did not move anybody that often yesterday, and it was obviously evident on the goal line. If you look at that game yesterday, and if you look at the statistics, if you just take out the turnovers, you would never think the Buccaneers would win that game. I mean, they lost almost every single statistic. I think Saints had 71 plays and the Bucs had 53, and 8 of them came on the 1-yard line. So there just wasn't a lot of offensive opportunities, but our defense, I haven't seen the Buccaneers defense play like that since the late 90s, early 2000s. Like that, I don't know if that could, if they can keep doing this, but that was a lot of fun to watch yesterday. It's been a while since I've seen that.
Tristan Wirfs had one of his rough games, probably one of his toughest games, I think, for the Buccaneers. What do you think was up with him yesterday?
Well, the false start part, I'll let everybody know, and you've heard me say hundreds of times. New Orleans is the toughest place to play. Like, if you can hear anything, that's a bonus. I watched some other plays. Tristan Wirfs, I see him on the ground more. I see him just not looking like he used to, okay? He just had a procedure. So he's coming back. He's not in football shape yet. His knee is probably 70%. Like, your knee's never going to be 100% again. You're probably 70%, and which is good enough to play. But to think that Tristan Wirfs was going to stay at that level forever is crazy. That level is the best in the league. He's still one of the best in the league, but he wasn't what he was 3 years ago. You see him struggling more often than he did in the past. He's still the best, I think, one of the best tackles in the league. But you just don't like to hear Tristan Wirfs just flat out getting beat because we haven't seen that much in his career.
Yeah, no doubt about that. You mentioned the defensive side of the ball, and Anthony Nelson coming up with just a couple of huge plays yesterday. And what do you say about a guy like that who's, he's a second stringer, right? He's a third or fourth pass rusher, and then he gets an opportunity to come in and make these plays and to be able to, pick six and sack. I mean, what a great performance from him. What does that say about your team when you have a guy that's as a vet, he's been around for a while, and he comes through in a big way like that? What does it say about your team as a whole?
Well, what it said to me was you should be playing more. That's what it said. And I swear, Jay, even before he made all these big plays, I looked over at Josh and I go, Anthony Nelson's better than Reddick. He just makes more plays. It just like Reddick doesn't. I'm not saying Reddick's a bad football player, but I didn't see him make that many damn plays in the first 7 weeks of the season. And yesterday was, we used to joke around on the sideline when somebody was playing well. We go, so and so's making money. Anthony Nelson made some money yesterday. In one way or another, he made some money yesterday because he looked like J.J. Watt out there. And it's been a long time since we've seen a defensive lineman take over like that. I've been asking for Vita Vea to take over. Vita Vea's never played a game like that. That was an unbelievable game by Nelson. He should be proud of himself. And when Reddick comes back, there's no reason why Reddick should even be playing more than him right now.
So why hasn't he gotten more opportunities? I mean, he's been here a couple of years now. I mean, he's no spring chicken anymore. And obviously they've seen him. He's made some good plays, but he's had opportunities in the past. And, if he was going out there and he was getting 10, 12, 15 sacks, you don't have to go get a guy like Hassan Reddick in the first place. So why haven't we seen more from Anthony Nelson then?
Same reason why Baker Mayfield is flourishing now, or Sam Darnold is flourishing now, or any of these guys, these veteran players. It takes a while, and sometimes it takes people different amounts. Okay, a lot of guys come in, like Warren Sapp wasn't great his first year. He wasn't. He'll tell you that. His second year, he elevated another 40%, and he kept on going up. Like Anthony Nelson didn't start off with the ability of Warren Sapp, but he's continuously getting better, and now he showed that he's a gamer. Like sometimes, people don't get a chance to play. When they finally get a chance to play, you go, oh, now I get it. Like I think I wasn't a great practice player, but when the game started, I think I was out there doing my thing. Anthony Nelson might just be a gamer. And when you see a guy play a complete game like that, boy, it'd be a shame to have him on the bench when you got that much playmaking, going waste.
One thing that I really loved about the Buccaneers yesterday was they had some calls that went against them, including the whistle that never was whistled on the Antoine Winfield Jr. play, where it should have been a touchdown. Dude was hanging out in the end zone, got nothing to show for it. What does that say about a team when, even though calls are going against them, they still just kind of keep on pushing and they keep persevering. Because I'm sure you've seen that too in your time, Beck, where every single time there's a bad play or a bad call, it could it'll just fracture a team and they won't be able to stay focused. What can you say about watching this team, and regardless of what is going on the outside, whether that's bad calls, whether it's the media, whether they still kind of stay and, composed and continue to push forward?
Well, I think this defense is a pretty mentally strong defense, and I think it's a testament to Todd Bowles. Every team, reacts differently. Like I'm coaching Chamber football. I can tell you right now, when we're down, we ain't that great. Okay, yeah. I can see it. You know what I mean? The Buccaneers just seem like they have good veteran leadership on that defense to where, nothing is overwhelming. It was good to see Antoine Winfield Jr. resurface because he's been very quiet towards the end of last year and the beginning of this year. Very quiet. Like that game yesterday is the kind of game that we were seeing on the regular for Antoine Winfield Jr. We haven't seen it in a while. So, this is a strong-minded defensive team, and I guess a resilient offensive team, because I don't know if we're strong-minded offensively because it's been 2 games in a row where we really haven't been all that efficient. But yesterday they did enough. But when they watch that film today, there's not going to be a lot of, chest pounding going on the offensive side. Defensively, they should be very proud of what they put on the field yesterday.
Which one of these 3 guys is it most important to get back as soon as possible for the Bucs? Luke Gedeke, Bucky Irving, or Chris Godwin?
Luke Gedeke.
Gedeke, really?
Yeah, it's not close for me. You get away with Rashad. Evans, when he gets back, is going to be an old, beat-up football player. I mean, or Godwin. What are we getting back? Right. What are we getting back? A guy who had his foot backwards last year? I mean, you don't know what you're getting back. We don't know.
Did you see my guy Scattaboo?
Yeah, man, I mean, and listen, nobody wants to see that, okay? Oh. But something was inevitable. It's just you can't. The days of Earl Campbell are done. Nobody runs like that anymore. Okay, so and I was enjoying it too, but I told people enjoy it because even the quarterback, when you leave a couple games for concussions in your first couple starts. I mean, how long do you think you're going to play exactly? Yeah, exactly. That doesn't work. It doesn't work. You got to not get hit in the NFL these days somehow or another.
What do you have to say about a team like the Atlanta Falcons? You and I have been discussing the demise of the Dolphins and all of the things that Tua Tagovailoa is saying and Mike McDaniel is saying, and the writing is on the wall that it's probably the end is probably sooner rather than later with this team. And then they go into Atlanta and just absolutely wipe the floor with the Falcons. What do you make of that game?
Well, the Falcons, and we were saying this during the game, the Falcons are that team that in the last 6 years, it just seems like every year people are expecting to do something and they never do anything.
Yeah.
And they just don't know how to win. And I don't know
whose fault is that? Whose fault is that?
It's a little bit everybody's. I mean, listen, Raheem got there, but does Raheem know how to win? I mean, as a head coach, does he really?
What do you think of Raheem? Because, I don't know him personally, and one of the things that I think is a very slippery slope in sports is when we get to, well, he's a nice guy, or he's a good guy, and I had a great interaction with him, and I'm just like, yeah, okay, but can he coach? Yeah. That's the thing is if he's a great guy, great, that's fine, but we're not, he's not dating my daughter, right? Is he a good coach? And from what I heard, right, trouble holding guys accountable when he was with the Buccaneers, and then watching some of his time management last year and watching how they underperformed and watching how he handled certain situations, and then watching him this year, I'm just like, Beck, I don't know if he's a good coach. It's not personal. I don't care. He could be the nice guy all he wants, but bro, to lose 30 zip against Carolina and then to get smacked like that at home yesterday to Miami, they can't stand their quarterback, they can't stand their head coach. Like I said before you came on, if we're saying that about Miami, what should we be saying about Atlanta?
On the Mike Calter show, we pick teams every weekend. I don't think anybody picked Miami. Okay, that's out of 6 people. and they beat the crap out of Atlanta. Raheem Morris, when Raheem was here, it was pretty evident that he got this job too early because he wasn't mature enough. And I'm sure he would, if he was sitting in this room, I would say that he would probably nod his head and go, I wasn't mature enough. Being a great head coach, to me, is more than X's and O's. It's more than leadership. There's some timing involved in it. There's some luck involved in it. If Raheem inherits the Pittsburgh Steelers, a team who already knows how to win, it's a different situation. To turn a team around and teach them how to win is hard. I mean, you got Penix in there. That's the future. Penix goes down. Kirk Cousins goes in. He looks like a horse's ass pretty much. So where do you go from here? Now you're, what are they, 3-4? Doesn't look good. Doesn't look like they're heading in the right direction. Defense can't stop anybody. Here's where you have to prove you are a good coach, okay? Because the Andy Reids, the Bill Belichick's of old when he had Brady, and Bill Belichick doesn't seem like the same person, or Mike Tomlin. A lot of those guys don't lose the 3 in a row. When they have a bad game, they come back and they represent. So when everybody's questioning your team and what it's all about, now is where Raheem, because everybody's looking at you sideways now. Like, okay, what is our leader going to say? How is he going to react? Is he going to snap? Is he going to blame us? Is he going to take some of the blame himself? And let's see where it goes from here. But I just think that the Falcons are pretty much overrated every single year.
We haven't really talked about this guy as much, but I saw him yesterday. He threw a pick out of his own end zone. From what you've seen, maybe not just this weekend against Baltimore, but Caleb Williams with the Chicago Bears. Yeah. And just watching that game yesterday, and I'm just like, dude, I just don't, a guy that's the number 1 overall pick, you think he's like a generational talent, and people said that if he came out a year earlier, he might be a number 1. Dude, I mean, no touchdowns yesterday against the Baltimore defense that is, they've had their ups and downs. I don't know what to make of Caleb Williams. I didn't care that he painted his fingernails. I didn't care about anything. Like, we've seen some quirky athletes in the past, man. Guys are like, oh, this guy does this. I mean, the greatest rebounder of the basketball of all time, arguably, was a guy that showed up to a book signing wearing a wedding dress. You know what I mean? Like, guys are different, man. Professional athletes are a different breed. You know that. But I was like, all right, let's see what Caleb Williams is all about. Now he gets a guy in Ben Johnson who did a great job last year with Detroit, and I'm sure he doesn't have a lot of – Beck, they spent a whole hell of a lot of money on offensive linemen. They got a bunch of guys at the receiver core. They got a good running back. Like, they gave this dude all the tools to be successful, and Caleb Williams he just doesn't look the part to me. What do you think?
And Caleb Williams, I see a little Anthony Richardson, unfortunately. Okay. Mm-hmm. They both are talented football players. I'm on the other end of the spectrum with the painted nails for me. Okay. Because no, I'm serious about this, Jay. Now, you brought up Dennis Rodman. Go show me a picture of Dennis Rodman in his rookie year. There's no piercings. There's no tattoos. They say he was almost timid.
Right.
He became that. Okay. Because he deserved it. You ain't gonna walk into no freaking NFL huddle with 10 maniacs looking at you with some fucking painted fingers, and they gotta expect me to follow you. Because here, you've heard me say this many times, Jay. You can't be a leader if you don't put that film on Monday and you're good, okay? Because when you put the Dennis Rodman film on, that damn film is good, the best. When you put Caleb Williams film, there'll be one good one, crappy ones, one okay one. So if somebody says, is he talented? Yes. Is he a good quarterback? If anybody says yes, they're wrong. Doesn't mean that he's not going to be good in the future. But if you ask me right now, is Caleb Williams a good quarterback? The answer is absolutely not. Does anybody want him quarterback in their team right now? And what team is that? And I guarantee they're not winning.
No doubt about it. Jets finally got a win. You got Aaron Glenn. How about that?
I mean, it's good. Listen, I'm an Aaron Glenn fan as a person. I don't like all the things he's been saying there, and it just looks like it's mayhem. But for Aaron Jacobson's sake, I'm happy that the Jets get one win because I don't want to see him go to the Skyway Bridge and, commit heady-catty.
Well, it's been kind of crazy, too, and it's super emotional because Nick Mangold passed yesterday.
Yeah.
And we talked about him years ago of, like, you told me, like, I didn't know the guy, but as an offensive lineman, you can appreciate the type of guy because he plays hard and those one team player. You know what I mean? A guy that just gave it all for a franchise. Mangold was a guy that you appreciated his game. And then, we talked about a little bit, and Gerald McCoy went on NFL Network. He was talking about Doug Martin. And I know it's different situations, Mangold with the kidney disease. And then Doug Martin, we're hearing more and more about some of the unfortunate happenstance of what happened with him. But man, just these NFL players, man, losing their lives too soon, man. It's really sad, isn't it?
It is, and those are two completely different situations.
Yeah, no doubt.
We don't know why Nick Mangold was in that situation. And Doug Martin, regardless of what we find out, is going to be tragic. You know what I mean? It's just he's just too young. He had too much of his life to live, and it's sad. Okay, it's sad because I know people who played with these guys, and even though Doug Martin had his ways, I never heard any bad stories about Doug Martin. And here's the thing that we all don't know. We don't know what's happening in their brains. We just don't. Because my brother, Tom McHale, who's gone, he died in his 30s. And they said he had, the brain of an 70-year-old Alzheimer's patient in his 30s. So when you think about that, I'm 58. I played the same sport longer and more violent than him. Now, what would make him have it and me not have it? Right. So it's one of those things where Doug Martin may be living with this. Nick Mangold's a different situation, but Doug Martin, we don't know. We didn't know why Vincent Jackson did what he did. And the problem I have is, as we progress in years, we're not learning anymore. Like, there's never been a breakthrough in CTE. Never, not one time. So I don't know if we're getting any better as far as CTE goes, unfortunately.
What was the hardest transition for you once you got out of the playing days?
The hardest transition was just not playing football in general.
Yeah. What about physically and mentally?
Physically, it was good to not be getting beat up, okay?
Yeah.
But I was still going to the gym, still doing, hard workouts, so I still thought I can play. I probably told you one time, John Gruden grabbed my arm once. He goes, "You can still play," and I almost came back, and my brain, it was just like, "Don't do it, dude." Yeah. But people ask, "What do you miss the most?" And obviously, I love to play the game of football. Now at 58 years old, I step out the bed sometimes, it hurts. So I don't want to get on a football field, but boy, it'd be nice to come out that tunnel. You hear your name called and hear the fans go at it. That's something that there's nothing in the world that's going to replace that. Okay, because to hear your name, even in the away games when everybody's booing you, that's almost a better feel than your home fans cheering you. That used to get me going even more. So that kind of stuff, that adrenaline rush, like I taught spin classes and I do this and that, but that ain't the same as 70,000 people either cheering you or booing you.
Yeah, we hear that a lot from like WWE guys that hold on too long and they're wrestling in their 40s and their 50s and their 60s, and people ask them like, "Why, man? Why do you put yourself through that?" And then you hear them say like, "Man, when you step out from that curtain and all those people are looking at you and all those people are cheering you, is like that adrenaline rush that you get is like you can't find that anywhere else." And I think that's why people turn to drugs and other things, because they're just like, they try to find that rush and they're unable to find it. And it's kind of scary too, man, because you dedicate your whole life to doing one thing and all of a sudden it's gone. And have you seen that? Like, were cases where guys just, you were able to kind of transition and kind of, rationalize things in your head, but I'm sure other guys out there, man, where it's all they know and it kind of defined who they were, that transition had to be awfully tough.
Yeah, I think a lot of guys go through that. Not a lot of people that I'm close to, because most of them hustle for the most part. Either that or they made enough money where they can chill, and both of those are cool. I wish I made enough money where I can chill, but even if I did, I don't know if I would not be an entrepreneur. I just don't know if I'd be the guy to sit at home. But a lot of it has to do with your mentality as well. Some people are hustlers, and some people just like to chill. Like, I'm a hustler. Tony Mayberry likes to chill, right? So, and we went through the same thing in the same amount of time, but our paths have been completely different afterwards. And but he did make a whole lot more money than I did, though.
Tony Mayberry, hey Tony.
Hey.
What's going on at the Dignitary Cafe, my man?
Just hustling every day, hanging out here, about to do my podcast, doing some streaming now. If everybody wants to go to YouTube, Ian Beckles show, streaming some NCAA football. Also, I'm putting on my podcast, my webcast. So at 4:00, we're going to do it at 4:00. So actually, going to be on there live at 4:00. You play NCAA at all, Jay? You play these games?
No, not really. No,
I'd like to bring you in here and beat you back in, anyways, though.
No, I'm good on that because all you do is run the football. That's boring. Freaking running the football the entire time. And
hey! We're not going to do that.
All you do is run the football.
What are you talking about?
Do you throw the ball?
I'll just throw it against you. And I'll still make you back in.
You probably will. You probably will. What team do you use?
Not probably.
No, definitely.
100%.
Well, yeah. What team do you use?
I use Alabama. Actually, Josh called me out yesterday. I used to play with Josh back in the day, and he watched me stream. He was like, "I could beat you."
Oh, wow.
Split his wig in half yesterday.
You did?
Oh, yeah.
What was the score?
The second game was like 30-7 or something like that.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, man.
I told it, dog. Don't be mad because I told it.
Yeah, I knew it. I knew it.
But you're hating me, though. Like, India, I come from toting it.
That's what I'm saying. I called you out. I know how you roll. I know how you roll.
That's
anything else coming up?
The world, stop the run, man. It's the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah, that's what they say. Chamberlain won again on Friday, right?
Yeah, Chamberlain 7-2. We got Mighty Leonard and Mike Robinson is not as mighty. And actually, there was two former Buccaneers on the sideline, Mike Simmons, and also Sean Love on the Robinson sideline. So
nice.
They're still trying to come up. They don't have as many athletes as we do. We're 7-2, and they're still struggling a little bit.
Yeah, that's the way it goes, man. Any big parties or anything coming up?
Nothing crazy. Just come by Dignitary and every day. Actually, Halloween party on Saturday. Nobody tells me anything. Things just happen around me.
I knew Chris was going to be able to hold it down. Oh wait, before I let you go, what happened with the whole Warwick Dunn thing?
Oh no, I DJ'd an event for Warwick Dunn on Saturday at the Skills Center. Never been to the Skills Center before. Nice, beautiful building. I got there at 11. I was supposed to DJ till 4. And about 1:30, Warwick asked me if I had any gospel music. And I told him I have like one song. So after my one song played, I said, "You got any music on your phone?" And we hooked up to his phone, and he pretty much played the music for the next 2.5 hours. And I just sat behind him and listened to gospel music for 2.5 hours. He's a very peaceful young man, Warwick Dunn is.
Yes. Who else was there? I saw a picture.
Andre Kerwin and the great Greg Wolf.
Nice. Unbelievable. Right? Andre Kerwin is everywhere, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Unbelievable. It's Ian Beckles show now.
Yeah.
On Instagram. Not Ian _Beckles. Right. Ian Beckles show. Check him out. Of course, Dignitary Cafe, 4817 Southwest Shore Boulevard. Go check him out. The best kava and kratom in town. In the Trenches podcast, go check him out. He's streaming live at 4:00 today with some NCAA. Of course, the Beckles and Recher podcast every Wednesday at 3:15 from the Dignitary Cafe. All right, my brother. I appreciate you, man. I'll see you on Wednesday. Happy streaming.
Enjoy your Monday, brother.
You too, buddy. Great Ian Beckles, the happiest man on earth. On earth. I'm a happy guy, too. You know why? Because of my great friends that we have. From the Honest Hammer, my good friends, the Honest Hammer. What is that? Music? Loud ass people driving down the block. Of course, our pals, Honest Hammer Custom Builders, LLC, 813-244-0956 for all your residential and commercial needs. Just look at some of these. Look at all the work that they do, man. Unbelievable. Licensed and insured Florida general contractor. CGC 153-1166. No project too big. No project too small. These are the type of people that you want to work for you. These custom builds that they're doing. I got to get out to the job site here. I'll probably be heading out there next week to check out what is going on with Russ and the folks at Honest Hammer. TheHonestHammer@gmail.com, TheHonestHammer.com. Kitchen, bathroom renovations. You're looking to do something new for your house, some interior structural renovations. They can help you out. Give them a shout. Tell them that you heard it right here on the Jay Recher podcast, 813-244-0956. They have discounts for first responders, military personnel, These are the kind of people that you want to deal with. This is the kind of company that you want to support here locally because they're just like you, Tampa Bay sports fans, honest. They understand this is something that you're doing for your home. You're trying to make your house comfortable, and you want to trust. You hear so many of these horror stories with these contractors, and it's not like that with Honest Hammer. I mean, you don't put honest in your name if that's not the way you roll. So again, 813-244-0956. Tell them that you heard it right here on the Jay Recher podcast. Also, our friends over at EverHealth, everhealth.org, all these different things, new expanded hours. Look at all these different locations here. There's 17 of them in Pinellas County. Family medicine, pediatrics, dental, women's behavioral health, chiropractic, everywhere. The pharmacy that's on site there. So if you get prescribed something, you don't have to leave. You just stay right there and they'll take care of it for you. It's amazing. If you're needing to talk to somebody right away, 727-824-8181. I just had somebody that I sent over there because they needed one of their children to be able to talk to somebody. And I said, EverHealth is the way to go. And they gave him a shout. And unbelievable care for every single member of your family. They don't want to just be your last resort. They want to be your first resort. And I just love that EverHealth helps everybody. You're uninsured, that's fine. They have a sliding scale to help you out. They take all kinds of insurance. And I know there's some kind of a stigma sometimes when you're dealing with a place, the free clinic, and it's got to be dirty and nasty and the kind of people. It's not like that at EverHealth, man. This is the new way of healthcare. This is how healthcare should be, helping people that need it. In the clean environment, a lot of fresh and happy faces, and the EverHealth Institute, where you can go to school there and work in one of the multiple medical professions that they have there, so you can find your career. A school very similar to the one that I went to for broadcasting. I mean, I couldn't be happier with EverHealth as being a partner here on the Jay Recher podcast. So again, tell them that you heard it right here on the Jay Recher podcast, everhealth.org. What's up to Chris Cole? Chris Hill. You needed the Lot 12 Patriot Beatdown Tailgate, no charge, great food. I got to get over there one of these days. Always curious about the other side of that coin, is self-medicating to come down from those adrenaline rushes and highs you get from being an athlete to regain work-life balance. Yeah, that's something that Ian and I speak about a lot when it comes to that next life, that next thing about life, right? Because it's so tough. So tough. That rush of 70,000 people. And all of a sudden, it's gone. Just like that, it is gone. Just saw it official about an hour ago. Jose Fernandez officially named the Dallas Wings head coach in the WNBA. So there he is. And for Jose, he's texted me yesterday. And he said, Jay, I'm going to miss you. And we'll certainly miss him too. But what a great choice for the Dallas Wings. Really, really good stuff there. All right. So speaking of Jose Fernandez and speaking of AUSF, so a tough loss for USF, a very tough loss. Here's the thing. When you're speaking about Alex Golesh, I think it's weird. Like, you get some of these people that come out and they say that they're USF fans, and then USF loses a game like that and they want to shit all over Alex Golesh. He has this, he has that. I'm like, what kind of USF fan are you? Like, honestly, this is a team that was one of the worst teams in college football just a couple of years ago. And this guy has them in the top 25, and they lose a game like that where he obviously makes a mistake. And now you want to like pick at him? Like, it just, things in social media, man, are just like, you think you are the smart person by saying some shit like that about Alex Golesh. You just look like a douchebag. You look like a dick. That's just the way it goes. You're not just some like automatic smart person. Like, wow, oh, gotcha, this guy sucks. See? No, that's not it at all. This entire football program has turned itself around, and he is the number one reason why. Did he make a mistake? 1,000%. Should have got the points there. Of course. got to kick the football. They have to do a better job. He has to learn in situations like that, right? We just said it about Todd Bowles, about learning and getting better as the years go by. Alex Golesh is no different. He has got to get better. He has to wear this loss, and he has. He's owned up for it. He's owned up to it. He's accountable to it. No doubt about it. Does he deserve the blame? Yes. Does that mean he's a terrible head coach? Not even freaking close. And I want to ask everybody this question. How many times have the Bulls went for it on 4th and 5 or less in the opponent's territory and got the first down and didn't kick a field goal? Do you know? Do you know? No, you don't. You don't know that. Because what makes this team so good is that they are aggressive, that they do put their foot on the gas, and they don't let up. They run play after play after play after play. And I understand there needs to be some modicum of, all right, hey, at times you got to dial it back a little bit. You have to be able to beat teams in a different way. I understand that. But that's part of the growing process. First time as a head coach, you're going to have moments like that. If he keeps making the same mistake, all right, I get it. I get that. But to sit here and act like he's not a good coach or you're surprised by that situation, it's going to happen. You live by the sword and you die by the sword. We'll talk about that with Dan Campbell with the Lions as well. You got to know when to kind of dial it back and kick the field goal, right? How about the holding penalty that pushed him back 10 yards? So Nico's missed the kick there. Low snap, that didn't help either. It comes down to the little things. How about the defense not being able to make the play down the stretch? That has nothing to do with any of that other stuff. Good teams find a way to win. Complementary football. You make the kicks when you need to make the kicks. You make the stops when you need to make the stops. You convert on 3rd and 4th down when you need to convert on 3rd and 4th down. This isn't just, I know it's one play and you look at that and say, oh, that's the reason why they lost. I mean, that didn't help, but that wasn't the only reason. Everybody needed to be better on that day. So when you look at Alex Golesh and you want to blame him for that one thing, like, okay, fine. But it's so much easier to sit on your couch with the remote on your hand and when things don't go well and go, that was wrong. That was wrong. You're sitting at home for a reason. Again, you don't remember all the other times that he went for it when maybe he should have kicked the field goal and they converted. You don't remember that. Nobody's talking about that today. It doesn't work out. They go on to lose the game. And everybody said, yeah, see, I knew they were going to lose that. No, you didn't. You didn't know that. This team has found a way to win in so many different ball games. And this is the game that you thought they were going to lose because of that one play. It's easy to say that now. And to think that that one play all of a sudden means that he's not a good coach or that he's overrated. Like, come on, man. Let's get real. It makes their path to the conference championship, their path to the possible college football playoff berth, it makes it more difficult, of course. But we're going to really see what this team is made of. How can you bounce back? Fighting just not for yourselves, but for your coach as well. Go out there and win a game. Go out there and win a game, and then another game, and then another. Like, just keep pushing. It's not going to be easy. We know how tough it is. You're 6-2 now on the season, 3-1 in the American, knocked out of the top 25. And now you look at the situation where you're off this week, back home next week against UTSA. And then down the stretch, you travel to Navy, you travel to UAB, and then you're home against Rice. I mean, the game to me that is going to decide it all is that game November 15th against the Naval Academy. They're going to run the football. You're going to have to stand up in the trenches and win that battle. And if you can win that game, you really give yourself a chance to go out there and win this damn thing. But if not, then maybe you're not supposed to win the American this year. It falls on them. It's all on, you control this entire destiny here. Win that game. If you win all your games, 1, 2, 3, 4, you'll be 7-1 in the conference. You'll be 10-2 overall. and you'll probably play Tulane or Memphis in the American Athletic Conference championship game, and then you go from there. But it's on you, and I am not one of those people that are going to sit here and start bashing Alex Golish because I didn't agree with one of his calls. Not very good. Brian Kelly out at LSU, still finalizing his $54 million buyout. Look at that. Another buyout and another buyout and another buyout. I mean, holy smokes, man. I can't say I'm surprised, and I don't think anybody out there can say you're surprised either that this happened. We spoke about this on Friday. We circled that game and said, okay, LSU sitting at 2 losses. What happens now? You're at home to Texas A&M. If Texas A&M wants to prove that they're one of the better teams in the country, you're going to have to outplay Garrett Nussmeier and LSU. And that's exactly what they did in a big way. And I know LSU led at the half, but the fact that they went into the half with a 4-point lead and then ended up giving up 35 points in the second half at home to an SEC opponent. That's it, man. That's the final nail in the coffin for Brian Kelly. You got to move on. And it was a weird kind of marriage from the start. Not surprised that this has happened at all. And this is a big job, another big job. We're talking about some of these big schools, man. You think about Penn State, you think about LSU, you think about Florida. I mean, will Florida State move on from Mike Norvell? Those are huge jobs. Not, oh, it's a job, it's a decent job and a big – no, man, these are big time college football jobs. These are national championship winning programs. And to think, wow, Penn State, LSU, Florida. I mean, big names, man. There's going to be big names. We were talking about all this money for the buyouts. Like, it's going to be big name contracts, too. And we'll see. Lane Kiffin going to Florida. I know some people are saying, maybe he will, maybe. Dominoes. What kind of dominoes are going to fall? Can't wait. Can't wait to see. That's going to be really, really fun, that whole coaching carousel thing. Indiana, we said it. We spoke about it being 56-6 over UCLA. Alabama and Ty Simpson, a really gutsy performance against South Carolina. I was really impressed by that. Again, you look at the record and go, all right, South Carolina was 3-4 in the game, 1-4 in the SEC coming into that contest, but they played their ass off. They really did. I was impressed by them. Not enough to beat Alabama, but it was more of Alabama just really fighting with it, staying with it all the way to the end. So congratulations to them. Ole Miss with a big 8-point win, 34-26 over Oklahoma. I like what I saw from Trinidad Chambliss and Ole Miss. Threw for over 300 yards in that game. They were a team that, okay, are you going? I said that was going to be almost a college football playoff eliminator. I thought who was going to win that game. You're going to be that second or third team, maybe in the SEC in the college football playoff. Ole Miss inside. I think they got that inside track. Keep an eye on that. Diego Pafia and Vanderbilt with a big win over Missouri, 17-10 there. Tennessee mollywops Kentucky 56-34. And then Texas with a big comeback victory as well, 45-38 over Mississippi State. Arch Manning goes out with a concussion, and Texas finds a way, man. I tell you what, you look at these two teams and how you look at Penn State just went in the absolute dump. Texas, I know early on people were looking, okay, you lose to Ohio State, but 14-7, you don't put too much stock in it went wrong with Arch. They come back, they win some, games that they should have won. The next 3 against San Jose State and UTEP and Sam Houston. Then you lose the game to Florida, right? After Florida loses to USF, but you win the game against Oklahoma, Kentucky, Mississippi State. Now you're staring at them 6-2. All right, what do we know about Texas? Because this is kind of wild. Because a lot of people love them, right? That's one of the programs that people love. They're 20th in the country now. Now you're playing Vanderbilt, who has been flying high, and you get them at home at noon. You win that game against the number 9 team in the country. What's your reward? You go on the road next week to number 5 Georgia, and then you finish the season after playing Arkansas against Texas A&M at home. So it's like, what if Texas wins all these games? Is it with Arch? Is it without Arch? Right? Texas is a fascinating program because you look at them. If they win those 3 games, they're going to be a top 10 team. They're probably going to be in the college football playoff. But who's going to be the quarterback? Is it going to be Caldwell? Is it going to be Arch? I don't know, but I'm fascinated by the whole Texas Longhorns season. And we'll see if they rise to the occasion or they just go and fly by the wayside and they're out of there. They're out of there. All right. So I wanted to talk about what Todd Bowles was saying today. Because Todd Bowles spoke with the media about 45 minutes ago about everything that was going on over the weekend. And, when you look at what Todd had to say about hold on. All right, here we go. Todd says it'll be discussed by the end of the week if Luke Gedeke, Bucky Irving, and Chris Godwin, whether they could practice the following week. They might do some stuff, but no timeline. Jacob Parrish just sore right now with an oblique injury. The big deal with Hassan Reddick, a sprained ankle. They're taking it day by day and week by week. So we know the difference with the high ankle sprains. We know that there's different grades to that. This is something that we most certainly will talk about with our guy, Dr. Carlos Rodriguez, with the EverHealth Injury Report on Thursday at 12:30. Always great to talk to him, kind of getting the whole breakdown of what happens with some of these injuries. But Hassan Reddick being out, listen, could be a lot worse, but Anthony Nelson was able to step up in his absence. And when he did that, unbelievable job. I know some people are not happy. Not happy. Benny, Hassan Reddick has been a bust so far. Anthony Nelson has played much better. Yes, but there's also something to be said about the whole situation with Anthony Nelson is if he is that good, how come he hasn't played more? Right? We've seen it. This isn't the first time that he's had some good games. Right? But if he was that good, again, he has been on the Buccaneers now since 2019, won the Super Bowl with them. He's been around for a while. He's 28 years old. So for him, he's a 2-year, $10 million contract signed back in March. He's got 18 and a half sacks in his time with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 6'7", 271, 5 forced fumbles, 3 recoveries, 5 pass deflections. He's a good player, but let's not get it twisted. He's not a guy that's going to be a 12 to 15 sack guy, is he? Is he that much of a late bloomer that at 28 years old, he's going to turn into Max Crosby or Trey Hendrickson? I don't know about that. If he is, I'll gladly be wrong. But I there's got to be something because this team has been begging for a pass rush. This team has been looking for a guy that can get to the passer, so much so that they signed a guy like Hassan Reddick on a 1-year deal. They drafted David Walker, right? So they obviously drafted Chris Braswell last year, who still is just not a factor much at all. So how come Anthony Nelson doesn't play more? I know a lot of people are saying that he should, but he hasn't. Why? Maybe because in spurts, and that's the thing, is sometimes guys play better with 20 to 30 snaps a game rather than 40 to 50. Todd Bowles also said Dan Feeney gave them the best option to win starting at right guard. He was healthier. Mike Jordan still banged up. Feeney was solid. Todd Bowles said that the erroneous whistle was a word that the referees used when giving their explanation about the Winfield play. He still doesn't have more info. Bowles also says he feels good about the team at 6-2. They play tough but need to take care of fundamentals. Confidence strong. They understand there's a long way to go. Likes that they're getting home with third league in sacks, not having a player more than 4. As long as they get sacks, it doesn't matter where they come from. So really, really good stuff there. No timetable updates on Chris Godwin, Bucky Irving, and Luke Gedeke. So, it'd be great to see, hey, they're off and guys are all going to come back, but I don't really get much of this, that these guys are going to be back, right? Oh, man, that sucks. We'll see. But again, we'll talk about it even more with the injury report with our guy on Thursday, Dr. Rodriguez from 12:30, at 12:30, rather. Really good stuff there. Anything else in the NFL? Let's look at some. Ed Oliver. Looks like he tore his bicep for the Bills in their matchup yesterday with the Carolina Panthers. That's rough. Really good defensive lineman for them. Monday Night Football tonight. The Washington Commanders travel to KC to take on the Chiefs. But the Eagles beat the Giants 38-20. Saquon Barkley with a big rush to start the game. He finished with 14 carries, $150, and a touchdown. The big story from that game is the injury to Cam Scatterbo. I mean, wow. Another guy that you see with his freaking ankle on backwards, and just you shudder to even think of that video. If you saw it, it was just disturbing as all hell. Eagles win 38-20, just 2 weeks after the Giants beat them on Thursday Night Football. Giants now 2-6, 0-5 on the road. The Eagles 6-2. We've already mentioned the Falcons getting blown out 34-10 by the hands of the Dolphins. Their first road victory of the season. Falcons dropped to 3-4. The best game of the day yesterday, ironically enough, was the Jets over the Bengals, 39-38. Justin Fields, and just pretty incredible to hear Justin Fields be so transparent after the game about him crying in his closet because of what has happened with him. And Woody Johnson, their owner, who you come out and you make these comments about your quarterback. You're trying to deflect the blame away from your head coach, and you're effectively throwing your quarterback under the bus, putting all of the blame at his feet. What kind of leadership is that? It's weird when these people have a crap ton of money from one endeavor, and then they come to football or baseball or basketball or hockey or any of these other sports, and it's not the same, man. It's not the same. These guys have all this money, and when you own a sports franchise, it's almost like your play toy. It's almost like a hobby, because that's not how you make your money. It's what you spend your money on. Yeah, you do make money from it, but nobody got rich just because they owned a team. And Woody Johnson, who's worth more money than you and I will ever see, he comes out and he says things, and you think you're Jerry Jones. Like, I don't quite understand how you think that's positive. Your team's in turmoil, you're winless, and you're talking shit about your young quarterback. Ridiculous. Then he goes out and wins the game. Now what? You're supposed to be happy? The best owners in sports are the ones that get the hell out of the way, empower the people to go into their positions that they were not born to do, but got to a point where that's why they are where they are. I think Woody Johnson is just, you're the problem, dude. And he'll own the team and he'll flaunt it. And I'm the owner of the Jets, just like what Jerry Jones does with the Cowboys. But you guys are the problems. Like, you're great business owners. Don't get me wrong. But as long as you are dabbling in the business and you are setting that type of tone, and obviously two different things, two different ways, like, you're not going to be successful, buddy. Sorry. The Jets finally get a win over Joe Flacco and the Bengals. But, I mean, again, do you trust that this team is really going to turn this thing around? I don't. Patriots win 32-13. Drake May humming right along. There's a good vibe with New England, man. They're a playoff team. No doubt about it. Mike Vrabel's done a really good job. You can tell he's so happy to be there. And Drake May has really looked good in year two. Bill smacked the Panthers 40-9. I don't quite understand what the mindset was in that game for the Carolina Panthers. If you watch the beginning of that game, you bring in Rico Dowdle. I don't think he started. I don't know if I saw the first drive or the second drive, but Chuba Hubbard was in there. And then you have Rico Dowdle coming in, and he's running the ball so well. And He ran the ball 8 times for 54 yards. He got out-touched by Chuba Hubbard 12-8. What are y'all doing? Neither one of them was good as James Cook. 19 carries for 216 and 2 touchdowns. Defense atrocious. Ted McMillan's good. 7 for 99. But Andy Dalton, it just shows you how tough it is to quarterback in the National Football League, because even guys like veterans like Andy Dalton and Kirk Cousins could look as absolutely abysmal as they did yesterday. Ugh, just tough to watch. Ravens with their backup quarterback, Tyler Huntley, beat the Bears 30-16. I don't trust Chicago for as long as I can throw them. Baltimore kind of getting back what they should be doing, handing the ball off to Derrick Henry. 49ers did not look good on the road in Houston. You know, it meant a lot for D'Amico Ryans to beat one of his, his mentor and a guy that gave him a job back in the day. And, 26-15 with the Texans. Texans are a tough team. They play their ass off. They play tough defensively. CJ Stroud really accurate with the ball yesterday. Broncos smack up the Cowboys 44-24. Bo Nix continues after his strong performance last week over the Giants with a big performance again with 4 tutties. The Colts improved to 7-1 with a 38-14 victory over the Tennessee Titans. Again, running the football with Jonathan Taylor. Only 12 carries, but 153 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's going to be Offensive Player of the Year if he stays on this pace. Does he deserve MVP votes? Jonathan Taylor? Maybe. I would say yes. We talk about Saquon and all these different. And as good as Daniel Jones has been, Jonathan Taylor, he just keeps running the football at such a high level. And this is the guy that we thought we saw a couple of years ago, and then it was a downturn. If you have Jonathan Taylor on your fantasy team, you're feeling really good about yourself. He's a hell of a player, man. He is a hell of a player, and it's just working in concert. Shane Steichen does such a good job. And then last night, Sunday Night Football in Pittsburgh, Packers 35, Steelers 25. Packers now 5-1-1. The Steelers 4-3. Thought it was very interesting to hear Aaron Rodgers after the game responding to the "Go Pack Go" chants in the stands. Those are the two teams that travel the best in the National Football League, in my opinion, or at least those are the two teams that when they travel to Tampa to take on the Buccaneers, those are the fans that there's going to be a large contingent. There's also a yellow to both of them, so they kind of stick out amongst the red and the white of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But yeah, I looked at that game in Green Bay. They are a good football team. LaFleur's got that thing humming. They moved on to Jordan Love, and you see what he's able to do there under center. You look at the hierarchy of the NFC. I mean, the Eagles, they're a Jekyll and Hyde at times, even within the game yesterday with the Giants. They look like world beaters at times, and other times they don't know what the hell they're doing. They're obviously way better than the Giants dealing with injuries. But who do you have? You have the Lions, you have the Eagles, you have the Packers, you have the Buccaneers. Like the NFC, man. People want to talk about the AFC. There's some good teams in the AFC, but I look at the NFC, man. I'm telling you. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's going to be a tough putt for whoever makes it to the Super Bowl. Our guy Nathan Elliott, Trey Palmer, terrible, got cut by the Bucs, signed by the Saints, has yet to play. Saints wide receiver core made the Saint QBs look bad with drop passes and poor play. Palmer can't break the lineup? No, I guess not. I tell you who impressed me in the game yesterday was Rashid Shaheed. That guy, if you are a team looking for a playmaker, I'm looking for a dude like that. So if I'm, let me see. I'm bringing him up. I know good teams out there. Like if I'm New England, if I'm Pittsburgh, it's kind of weird to see Denver Broncos first place 6-2 in the AFC West. I'm looking for some playmakers out there. I'm trying to bring up the Saints and seeing if Rashid Shaheed's available. That dude is quicker than a hiccup. I would love to see him in my favorite team's uniform because he is a guy that even it took everybody. If you see the Buccaneers tackle the way they did against Detroit, if they would have done that against New Orleans yesterday, they would have been in big trouble because that kid can motor. And it was a couple of times, it was like, get him. Okay, good. Get him. Okay, good. Because if he would have got away, he would have long touchdowns. So very, very smart play and very disciplined play for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But I'm watching that kid, and I'm like, dude, go get on a different team. Go get on a different team so we don't have to see you twice a year, but also because I think he can really help a team that is looking to get some playmakers out in space. Rashid Shaheed, man, no joke at all. I see a lot of people talking about Jordan Brooks to Tampa this week or just getting traded. Do the Buccaneers make a trade over the next 2 weeks? I would love to see it. I would love to see Todd Bowles take a page out of Julian Brisebois' book. Go get a guy to help them out. All right. Speaking of Julian Brisebois, how about our Tampa Bay Lightning? Wow. Now, first and foremost, shout out to David Terry. Shout out to everybody that came out and see us for Sticks and Stools on Saturday at 4 o'clock before the game against the Anaheim Ducks. Lightning win that one 4-3. That was huge. Late goal from Tough Tony Anthony Cirelli there. And then yesterday, another 5 o'clock start, a 2-1 win over the Vegas Golden Knights. Brandon Hagel scores his first of the year, and then Nikita Kucherov scores in overtime. That is the type of game that can help turn around your season. And it's not just that you won, it's how you won. Vegas is one of those teams that is going to make you play honest. They're going to make sure that you play good defensively, that you get the puck out, that you get the puck in deep, because if you're just messing around and you think you're just going to go up and down, like that is not what you want to do. Play smart, take care of your own end, and you'll come out on top. And that's exactly what they did to beat a very good team. Their defensive structure with Coach Cassidy is, we saw it when he was with the Bruins. You see it again with the Vegas Golden Knights. That is not something that you're not going to score 5 goals against them usually. It just doesn't happen. To win a game like that, you have to do it the right way. And shout out to our girl, Karen Clemente. Hey, Jay, great win last night. You got that right, Karen. That was a good deal. And what I'm seeing is there seems to be a little bit more of a no-nonsense with John Cooper sitting guys, moving guys around. Dominic James cannot come out of the lineup. He can't. He can't, dude. That dude plays his ass off. He put Mitch Marner on his ass yesterday. Those guys need to play. You need to scratch and claw for. That's what made this Lightning team so good a couple of years ago. There was no complacency. Guys fought, and they played like it was their last time ever touching the ice. I was very impressed by that. I want to see more of that for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Very excited to see these next couple of games if they're able to carry it over. When do they carry it over? Well, it starts tomorrow night in Nashville against Steven Stamkos and the Predators, and then Thursday night against the Dallas Stars. So let's not forget about that one either. And then back on the road again, they play Utah, then Colorado, Vegas, nice little West Coast trip, and then return on the 8th against the Washington Capitals. But a good sign for our Tampa Bay Lightning. It was getting a little iffy there when you're looking at the standings and you see them at the bottom of the Atlantic. It's like, the hell's going on there? Now, they are tied for 4th because there's they are tied for last with 8 points with the Boston Bruins, but they play 9 games. If they win this one, they'll be tied for 3rd. So it's still early in the season. Canadians in first place with 7 wins, 7-3 through 10. Red Wings, Panthers, then Sabres, Senators. Last 3 teams in the Atlantic: Leafs, Lightning, Bruins. It won't stay that way for long. Also, so I was at the game for 2 periods on Saturday night, and then I went to Al Lang for the finale for our Tampa Bay Rowdies. They needed to win by 2, and then Indy needed to lose. Unfortunately, it was a 1-1 draw against Detroit City, but the real reason being there was the final game in the careers of Leo Fernandez and Forrest Lasso, a couple of legends for our Tampa Bay Rowdies. The last time they were able to play in front of their fans there. Very emotional to be able to see those guys who left it all on the table. Multiple-time defender of the year in Forrest Lasso, former MVP of the league with Leo Fernandez. 2 guys that are just great husbands and fathers and guys that I consider friends. I was so glad that I was on the pitch to be able to watch that. I'm going to put up a post here this week commemorating that. Hope you guys got a chance to see the interviews that I posted from the post-game stuff. Really, really good. but it's a new day for the Rowdies. Unacceptable this year not being able to make the playoffs, but I got a chance to sit down with Coach Dom Cassiato after the game, and he says it's going to be a lot different. Going to be a lot different next year. He's already working on improving the team, and we'll be talking to him the next couple weeks. But shout out to our Rowdies and Ryan Helfrich and Jake Nutting and everybody. Love you guys. Thank you so much for all the support here on the show. But yeah, it's got to get better. Certainly got to get better. UFC 321, my God. What the heck happened there? Eye poke of doom. Tom Aspinall, no contest with Ciryl Gane. And the best part of that whole thing was during that fight or after that fight was John Jones and Alex Pereira kind of talking on social media that they want to fight against each other at the White House. I don't want to see John Jones fight Tom Aspinall. It does nothing for me. It doesn't at all. Give me Alex Pereira, one of the most accomplished combat fighters of all time, against John Jones, what many people think is the greatest of all time. If Alex, this is a GOAT-making fight. This is a GOAT-making fight. Alex Pereira beats John Jones. He's the greatest of all time. That's the way it goes. Jones wins, clear stamp, rubber stamp, boom, the GOAT. Tom Aspinall, I don't know. It's not the same for me. Just heavyweight dominance. To me, to be the greatest of all time, you need dominance in more than one weight class. That White House card is going to be nuts. Nuts. I cannot wait to see that one. World Series, the Blue Jays win game 1. What a pinch hit grand slam, first of all time. Addison Barger, King High graduate. So cool to see a kid that I saw playing travel ball growing up, then playing for King High, and then now seeing him playing in the World Series. Unbelievable. And then Yamamoto comes out and throws a complete game in game 2. Game 3 is tonight. If I'm the Dodgers, I'm staying away from the bullpen. I got so many starters anyway. Just keep throwing as many complete games as humanly possible. Get to Blake Trinan, and that's it. I'm using all my guys like Yamamoto and Otani and Snell and Glasnow, and all. Just use every starter that you can. Try not to go to the bullpen at all, unless you're going to Trinan. But yeah, if the Blue Jays can keep it close and they get to that bullpen, and it's a one-run game, then the advantage might flip to Toronto because they play the game the right way. They got a bunch of guys that put the ball in play. They do all the little things. Yeah, you got to – I still think the Dodgers win this in 5 or 6. But the only way that they're going to win the games is if they're able to get to the bullpen, Toronto. And if they don't do that, I think they'll be in trouble. Any surprises really in the NBA? Not really. Spurs 3-0, Thunder 3-0. Let's see. Boston's 0-3, Pacers 0-3. No surprise there with both of them missing their superstars. And then, of course, El Clasico from over the weekend. Barcelona loses to Real Madrid. A little bit of a dust-up after the game, but no surprise there. Real Madrid is just balling out right now to win the biggest rivalry in soccer. Man U wins with a big win, 4-2 over Brighton. Liverpool loses their 4th straight. Chelsea loses. Man City loses. Arsenal, it is their Premier League to lose. It really is. It's their Premier League to lose. This is the year for them. No excuse. Go out there and win and make your fans happy. But yeah, again, it is theirs to lose. Let's see. I want to make sure that I got everything. All right. Yeah, that is pretty much every. Barca is cooked. How about those Orlando Magic? How about them? Sitting there at, let's see, 1-2. Not great. Not great. We'll see. It's still 3 games through, but some really, really good stuff. Sorry, DT. I had to bring up Liverpool. They lose one again. They lose again. That's just the way it goes, man. Great win. James put some spark in. You got that right, buddy. Dom James reminds me of a young Yanni Gord. And Karen says, I feel like Iki's getting further and further away from having a chance to come back with the play of James. Yeah. And the thing is, too, if they continuously put him on the bottom 2 lines, Karen, like, they want him to play. They want him to play. And if he's only going to play 10 minutes a night and he's not going to get some of those opportunities on the power play, it's just better for him to play in the AHL. I think he should be playing on the top 2 lines because I still think they need him there. But we'll see. I don't know if you guys saw the article that was it Pierre LeBrun? I think it was. I don't know. Oh no, it was it Elliot Friedman talking about Steven Stamkos? Only 2 points in 8 games, what happens with Stammer in Nashville? Do they look for an exit strategy? Does that mean he'll come back to the Lightning? I don't know. But it didn't end well here. And with the way that the Lightning are trying to play, they're trying to get younger, they're trying to get faster. Is there a spot for Steven Stamkos? If you tell me Steven Stamkos is going to be on the power play and he's going to be your third line left winger with like Yanni Gourde and Gage Gonsalves, like I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. I really don't. And congratulations, of course. Anyone know if and when Cooch gets the ceremony? It'll probably be the next home game, I would say, but 1,000 points for Nikita Kucherov, a big deal. You'll probably see a message from Stammer as well. But yeah, really cool. 1,000 points to be able to see the guys get on the ice for that on a goal that, I wasn't sure if they were going to look back at, but no, they didn't. And Cooch gets his 1,000. And before you even noticed it, everybody was on the ice, which was kind of wild. But Stammer buyout and sign with Bolts for final cup run before retirement. Yeah, we'll see. And hopefully, Stammer was a guy that was going to, you look at him and I was really hoping that Stamkos was going to get his flowers and be able to work and just be here in the Tampa Bay area. I don't know if that bad blood means that he's not going to have his roots here, but I was hoping that Stamkos would be here, just like we see with Pat Maroon, set the roots here, work for the Lightning, be around the organization. Come on the podcast. We'll see, man. We'll see. But hopefully it works out because Steven Stamkos, once a Lightning, once a Bolt, always a Bolt. That is for sure. And like Karen, she's so smart. Look at that pretty smile, Karen. Thursday for Halloween game, she would expect. All right, guys, it's going to wrap it up for me today on the program. I love you all. Really, really good stuff, as always. Our good pal Ian Beckles joined us at 12:30. Make sure you check that out. Follow me on all social media platforms. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. Like and subscribe on YouTube. I got practice today. I'm working on the account today to make sure that we can get some t-shirts before the end of this week. The Jay Recher podcast. Big thank you to our partners, Honest Hammer and Evra Health. Couldn't do this without you guys. I love you guys so much. Going to be a little weird this week with no Buccaneer football, but we'll talk some Bucs tomorrow as well. All right, everybody have a wonderful there's no USF this weekend either. What are you guys going to do? It's Halloween. I love you all, man. I appreciate it. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms. Be good to each other. And we'll see you tomorrow noon right here. Tomorrow noon right here on the Jay Recher podcast. I am gone. Peace.